Hello to everybody, I am Carlo Chiarle, Head of Global Manufacturing Operations and Supply Chain in Marelli. We have 6 different divisions. Each division produces a different kind of product. We start from automotive lighting. Automotive lighting produces headlamp, rear lamp and sensing. Then we go to propulsion. Propulsion produces electrical motor for electrical vehicles, but also engine control unit for thermal engine. Then we go to electronics. Electronics produce displays, electronic control unit and clusters. We pass through interior experience. Interior experience is a division that produces aesthetical components for the inside of the vehicles. One example, the cockpit. We go to ride dynamics. Ride dynamics, they produce shock absorber and suspensions. Green technology. Green technology produce exhaust systems for ICE vehicles, but also thermal system like exchangers for electrical vehicle and ICE vehicles. Adding to that, we have 2 other divisions. One is motorsport that produce components for competition. And the last one is aftermarket that delivers spare parts to the independent aftermarket. As said, we have those 6 divisions that manufacture different kind of product, where we operate in 21 countries with more than 100 manufacturing plants. On top of that, for rising the complexity, we are having different kind of ERP that we need to synchronize all together. As we can imagine, we are delivering to the same customers, the global customers, the main players, but in the different phases of assembly our components in the vehicle. Just a few numbers. Finished goods, 50,000 finished goods. Those finished goods delivered in different phases of the assembly of the vehicles are made using 350,000 components. This brings us to have this kind of approach, to have all our plants globally, more than 100 plants, that became an antenna to collect information from our customers. So we are receiving the EDI from one side, at different level of the assembly line of the vehicles. This is the image. At the same time, we are operating with those plants. So those plants became, thanks to the platform approach of SIOP 9, antennas to collect information constantly, to update the visibility of the trend of the demand of our customer for the next month. We can have 2 phenomena. Customer that are planning to increase their volume of that specific vehicles for that specific region. So all the divisions and the plants that are serving that customer need to be ready. One example. Other example, customers, plants that are having problem, but they still launching constant EDI to us, but is observed thanks to the proximity of our plants to the final customer plant that they may have some trouble generated by external factors. So we need to be ready to reduce our focus to our suppliers to avoid to have extra stock and risk of obsolescence in our plants. The concept is this: one source of truth. One source of truth constantly updated, taking data from different sources. One can be the EDI, but the other source can be the key account manager that provide information about the new product launch or the specific version that can be launched in a specific customer plant. On top of that, as said, we have the information that we can grasp having more than 100 plants that are dealing constantly with our customers. When we made the pilot phase, we said we need to be able first to measure in the same way, then to improve altogether. This was the basic concept. we start measuring basic, simple KPI, reduction of premium freight, and we reached a significant reduction of around 30%. Reduction of labor losses. Labor losses generated to the fact that we have the people ready to make some assembly activity, but finally we discovered that the customer changed their own program or the supplier didn't deliver to us. Third KPI that we use to manage is how to improve the inventory turn, and we have able to improve. This gives us the consistency of the approach used for making the implementation. It has been an holistic approach to show that SIOP implementation would have not been only a supply chain tools, but instead need to be considered as a company tool, where all the departments, starting from manufacturing operation at first, but also HR to define the right people and the right training to be available at the right time in the line, going to the purchasing department to have right visibility, up to arriving to the manufacturing engineering to have a right dimensioning of the trend of the demand based on consistent data, not only contractual capacity. So really a tool that allow all the departments to have a right metrics of how to fit their own resources to have the best manufacturing operation output. Marelli deliver more than 50,000 finished goods made with 350,000 components supplied by different suppliers all over the world. We managed this through several ERP that we had to combine all in one, having this image like having one Marelli plant that deliver to one customer plant. The reality is not like this, because reality is 100 Marelli plants that are delivering to our customers all over the world in a different phases of the assembly line of our customers. So the capabilities has been really to combine these different needs all in one, and this is a fact. This is one approach. But then to be able to update constantly, following the trend and all the topics that are happening in the market. We generate at first the interest for everybody to have an opportunity to work in a more integrated way, having a more proactive approach instead of being only reactive, being able to anticipate the phenomena and not to discover at last minute that they need to find an alternative because this specific component is not delivered because of the shortage of doesn't matter what. So really we have been able to generate the interest of using this tool, but also using these tools with the freedom of making suggestions how to evolve the tool itself. So if the tool as it is doesn't fit exactly on the need of one specific division, can be changed and evolved, always considering the total need for Marelli. So one request from one division was compared with the need of other division to find the best way to satisfy everybody. First, Marelli started with a pilot for making proof of concept. From this pilot lasted less than 1 year. Making the pilot, we defined a clear KPI how to measure the improvement. And based on that, those improvements were judged by other departments. Finance department judged the improvement. We reached a tangible improvement. After that, we decided to extend the implementation to the whole organization. The winning point has been really to use this image, that it was not a tool for supply chain, it was a company tool where everybody can find the information that are needed, like periodical and continuous updating of the forecast, because we see that we make a budget, then everything change after 3 months and the budget become automatically odd. So it is needed to have a rolling forecast, having clear in mind the proactive approach that is expected from our customer that are asking us, okay, we can accept you can have a problem, but you need to anticipate us when you have a problem. This is really the spirit of SIOP. Being all together, having the same vision, having the same proactive approach, being able to anticipate the phenomena, not trying to cure the problem, but to prevent the emerging of the problem itself. SRM is a logical extension of the approach. We start SIOP, that was end-to-end visibility, starting from having one customer demand up to arriving to one supplier volume trend, let me say. Then we observed that we need to enlarge the collaboration with our supplier to work with them to anticipate the problem that they may have. Problem in terms of technology, this is all technology that isn't in end of production, or industrial problem. I have a problem in that specific region because of earthquake, we don't know. So really the spirit of SRM is being able to integrate the proactive approach also with our suppliers, to have them on board, to work all together to solve the problem. Supplier adoption can be driven through a simple tool. A tool that shows if we use this digitally, dynamically updated tool, everybody can have the same information. If we can have same information, we can avoid to spend time to collect data. Instead, we can spend time to analyze data. That is much better, and you can have much fun. If you analyze data instead of collecting data, you can expect to have good solution from the teams. The teams was really waiting for this, for having a tool that allow constantly to have a common view of what next would happen to the volumes production of our customer, for instance, but also what next from our suppliers. Listen their own problem, listen the opportunity that they may arise, and the opportunity of synergy that we can do, having really one company approach. Approach based on data-driven, proactive approach, working to onboard all the department to show that this is the way to have one company approach. We observed during the last month how fast the scenario can change. We were all oriented on electrical vehicles. Now we see that electrical vehicles still very important, but also internal combustion vehicles will keep significant role in the global vehicles production. So our world will change. The requirement from our customer will change. The constraints from our supplier will change. We need to be ready to adapt ourselves quickly, having always clear in mind what is the trend, what are the data, where we can grasp the data, to avoid to spend time on collecting data, but instead spending time on analyzing them.